Alright guys, this is part 2 of re-LS swapping my OBS truck. Here's the wiring harness right here. We're going to start working on it. I'm going to get all the wire loom stripped off and start going through the wiring, get rid of what I don't need. I'm just going to run the bare minimum. I was using this harness in it before. I left the factory fuse box and all that, and it looked horrible under there, but it worked. But we're going to redo it and do it right this time. Here's a little better view of what it looks like. But like I said, I'm going to get all the wire loom stripped off and start going through it. Get rid of everything I don't need. Here it is with pretty much all the wire loom off. What wire loom you still see, that's going to get, the wires are going to be gone. I'm not going to video the whole process. I'll just video updates of how it goes. It's very time consuming to do this. Alright, I got pretty much everything unpinned out of the connector. There's a bunch over here. So I'm going to start going through it and pulling it out of the harness. This one wasn't too many wires, but the other one had a bunch more. Here's pretty much what's left. I'm still looming it up, separating it and all that. I'm going to grab the intake and set it over here, plug all my injectors up, and start laying it where it needs to lay, and then tape it up some more. I still have to cut this plug the rest of the way off, or these two plugs the rest of the way off, and wire them into the fuse box. Here's the little fuse box. I still got to figure out all the wires, which one's which, to wire that into it. There is a lot of extra wire. It's extra long. I'll just loop it, stick it out of the way. But I got my mass airflow wire that'll run around the firewall and down. Got my cam, my crank sensor, and my starter wire. O2 sensor. The other O2 sensor. Grounds, knock sensors, cam sensor, map sensor. All my injectors, I turned them around on the inside. Ran it through there. There's my coil pack plug. Same thing with this side. Of course, the temperature sensor, alternator, those two, and the computer wires. Here's all the wiring I pulled out of the harness. And all the wire loom. Alright, I got through all those wires that was still connected to that little block. I figured out all my fuse box wires. So now I'm going to start connecting them together. I'll just kind of do a temporary connection until I get in my truck, because I'll probably shorten them up and make it, tidy it up once I get it in there. Alright, I got them all connected to the fuse box. I wired them up and then soldered them all and then taped it up. I will shorten it once I get it in the truck, because I don't want all the extra wires and it looks horrible. But I'll shorten it up and tape it up once it gets where it needs to be. Here's my, I guess what you call under dash wires. Of course, the computer plugs. I still got to run one more wire down here, a heavy one for to the alternator from the battery. I did forget that, but I'll do that once it's in the truck. But yeah, once we get this thing in the truck, I'll use this wiring harness tape I got here and just wire or tape it up with that instead of using actual wire loom. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all of it for the harness. The new cam bearings came in yesterday, which was Friday, and the installer tool was supposed to be here today, and apparently it's not going to be here till in the middle of next week sometime. So I'm going to go ahead and get this motor painted and everything else done that I can. That way when the tool does get here, I can get them slapped in there and get it in here. I've never actually installed cam bearings in a motor before, so this is going to be my first time, and hopefully I don't screw it up. But we're fixing to learn. Alright, I got the oil pan, valve covers, and the timing cover painted, and the motor, the block part. I am gonna, once it dries, I'm gonna tape the block off and paint the head silver. Yeah, should look pretty good once it's done. I'm not looking for perfection, just make it look better than what it was. I got it finished painted. It's all just sitting together. But I'm pretty much just waiting on the tool to come in to get these cam bearings in, and then I'll be able to drop it down in there. Kind of at a standstill now. Alright guys, it's Monday and the cam bearing tool came in. So we're going to try to get these things put in. I've never actually installed any in a motor before, so this is going to be my first time. But I'm going to learn. Hopefully I don't screw them up, and we're going to get on this and try to get this thing ready and hopefully even put in the truck today. I got the first one in without destroying it. Got the hole lined up and everything, so we're going to start on to the next one. Already got number 2 in, lined up. Technically number 4, but I'm going backwards here. Go on to the third one. Number 3 is in now and lined up. Got that one in. Now to the last one. I got the last one in. Now I'm going to throw the cam in. Hopefully I got them all lined up right. Cam went right in, turned smooth like it's supposed to, so I guess I did it right. All the oil holes are lined up, so it's gonna get oil. Should be good to go. Alright, as you can see, this motor has a brand new oil pump. It's a Melling, you can't see the numbers back here, but it's just a stock volume oil pump. Oh, and the Gen 4 rods, as I was telling you guys about too. But the oil pump, I don't know what oil pressure this motor had before, but you're supposed to be able to shim this spring to bump up the oil pressure a little bit. I've seen a video on it a while back and explained it very well, but I cannot find it now. So I'm just kind of guessing here. But usually they put a washer in here to space it, make it a little stiffer. So I found this screw, cut it off, and it fits down in there perfectly, like that. So I'm going to throw that down in there and just see what happens. Hopefully it don't have too much oil pressure. Guess we'll find out when I get together. Alright, I got that back together. Now all I got to do is throw the windage tray and the pickup tube on, and then I'll get the oil pan on, and then do the rear cover and the front cover. Already got this thing ready. I'm gonna pull it off the engine stand, and then I gotta throw the clutch, flywheel, pressure plate, and all that on it. And then we'll be ready to throw it in. All right, we got this thing all back together, ready to go down in there. All right, we got it in. Bell housing bolts are all in and the motor mount bolts are in. Looks pretty good down there. But tomorrow I'm going to start doing all the little stuff. Probably get the headers on first. And then probably start doing wiring after that. That way I could tuck it all down behind the motor down in there real good. But yeah, the big part's done. Now I'm gonna get these headers on, and then I got the wiring harness over here. I'm gonna start laying it in here, seeing where it needs to go. Then I'll probably just set the intake on there to help show me where the wires need to go. But yeah, we're gonna get started on this thing. Also, I did forget to mention how I usually do the fuel system on these trucks is I use a compression fitting. Down there is a stock fuel line for these OBS's, and this top part is the stock fuel line for like a 99 up Chevy truck or whatever. This one's the return style. But anyway, I just cut them off and use compression fittings, put them back together. This one's been like this for 3 years. I've done it on several different trucks. Never had any issues out of them, so it's a cheap and easy way to do it. And for the fuel pump, you just run a 96 up fuel pump in these older ones. If you have a 96 up Chevy truck, of course you don't have to. But 95 down, you gotta run the 96 up fuel pump. And I believe on those fuel pumps, 96 and 97 are the same, and I believe they went to plastic in 98 or 99, I'm not sure. But I think 98 had plastic. But you get the 96 or 97 that has the steel lines, and it's a direct swap into these trucks. So no lines have to be made, nothing, plug and play. Alright, I think I got all the wiring done. Got that covered up. These are just the air conditioner wires. I'll just tuck them down in there somewhere. That way they're there for whenever I do that. Got the temperature sensor put in, oil pressure, wire shortened. Here's all the injectors and all that. My alternator wire, my big alternator wire. I still got to shorten this one once I get the alternator on. We got it all ran across here, taped up. I went down below with the computer wires. It's just laying there for now. I will buy some brackets to mount it. The one I had wouldn't work. That one right there, where it was right here. Anyway, I gotta mount that still, which that's gonna be later. And then my fuse box wires, I just ran them up and over, taped them up, and mounted the fuse box right there. All my underdash wires are ran down there. You can't really see them. You can see a couple of them right there. But yeah, that should be all the wiring. Now just to get the motor together now. I still got to throw my starter on and run those wires down there, which they already ran down there. Just got to hook them up and tape them up. Tape them away off to the side. But yeah, I think we'll have this thing running today. We got the intake all on, bolted down, injectors all plugged in, coil pack plug right there. Got my fuel lines hooked up. Still got to do the throttle cable, throttle body, all that. Of course, this little bit. But definitely looks way better than what it did before so far. We're fixing to fire it up for the first time. I got everything needed hooked up, I think. Alright guys, we got this thing fired up for the first time. It runs pretty good. It's making a little lifter noise, but that's pretty normal for these when they've been sitting, so hopefully it's going to go away. Oil pressure is great, and I'm going to start getting this thing back together. I'm not going to record every bit of it. I'll just give updates of it because my phone's almost out of storage. So I'll do it as we go. Alright, I got all this on. Got the wires fixed up for the alternator. My old water pump was leaking, so I got this other one. This one is off of a Gen 4, which is 07 up. The only real difference is the water neck here. So hopefully my hose still goes on it. The other ones are pretty tall. The thermostat may be different too. I'll figure that out. But it'll still bolt right on. Looks like a newer water pump, so hopefully it'll be good. They tend to leak when they sit for a while. Yeah. Here's where we're at. Alright, got the water pump all on, thermostat housing on, belt on. I gotta wash out the radiator because I had all the oily water in it from before. Wash it out really good and then put it in, and I do got another fan to throw on it. But it's almost there. Alright, we're back together with it. I still gotta fill it up with water. And then we can let it run. I do have to bleed the slave cylinder again, but for some reason, maybe when I pulled the motor out, I guess the slave cylinder extended all the way. Not real sure. But it drained all the fluid out of the reservoir here, so now I have no clutch. So now I'm gonna have to re-bleed that. Hopefully it works. It is leaking down there a little bit because I bumped it with the motor pretty good, trying to put it back together. So I'll do that tomorrow. It's pretty late out. But I'm gonna get some water in this thing and we'll get it running for a while. Some more. I don't really hear any lifter noise now, so that's good. Everything's looking good on there so far. I messed the tune a little bit on it. Oil pressure is looking good still. So far it's sounding really good. We're only at 124 degrees right now. Oil pressure's still looking good. We're up to temp. We're at 190. Everything's looking good so far, so I'm gonna go ahead and take it for a test drive. Doing great so far. It does have a little bit of a lifter noise slightly. Probably can't hear it in the video, or it may make it worse in the video. But it's not steady, so we're just gonna run it and hopefully it goes away. But it sounds much better than it did before. oil pressure went down to about 40, just over 40, so that's good. Everything else on here is looking really good. Seems to run pretty good too. I still need to wash it, but it looks pretty good. Way better than what it was for sure. I am gonna put my overflow box back here, which will hide these wires. We'll tidy this one up a little bit. But it's running really good. It does have a miss here and there, depending on the throttle. I know it's just plugs because I reused all my old plugs and they didn't look the greatest. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw a new set of plugs in it at some point soon. I am tinkering with the tune very little. It was never right before, but I got it pretty close. It's still wanting to dip a little bit when you let off the throttle from coming off a higher RPM. So I'll tinker with that a little bit and get it fixed. But other than that, it's running really, really good. I'm pretty happy with it so far. The next thing is going to be the rear end. It's been making noise. After I drove it today, we hot rodded a little bit, and it's making a little more noise than I remember. And now even a little more after we did what we did. So, just a 10 bolt 373 posi. I have another one. I think it was out of a Tahoe or something. So I'm either going to throw it in there or I'll pull the gears out of this one and put another one in it. Probably just throw a whole rear end in it. It's much easier. But yeah, we'll do that. Alright, we're pretty much done with this thing. It's running really good. I'm pretty happy with it. I will get the hood back on at some point. But all my gauges are working like they're supposed to. The speedometer is still reading 10 miles an hour faster than what I'm actually going. So I got to figure out how to tune that into the computer. Shouldn't be very hard, just got to learn how to do it. But I drove this thing up and down the road 3 or 4 times, hot rodded a little bit, and it runs great. Got a lot of power. But as far as the rear end goes, I probably won't record that because it's just a direct basic swap. Nothing to it. But I'll probably swap that out here in a couple days, maybe a week. I may just leave it till it breaks. I'm not real sure yet. I'll probably just get a whim and do it. It also does have just a slight little lifter noise to it still, but most of it's gone away, so I think just a little more rev limiter time, it'll go away. But other than that, I think we're ready to go. But we're going to be doing a lot more of this kind of stuff. We're fixing to get back on the 55 back there and get that one running. I have decided to go ahead and go LS in Joker, so we'll be doing that pretty soon too. But if you guys want to see more of this kind of stuff, follow along. But that's going to be all for this video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.